What's up, guys? My name is Liam, and today we're going to be talking about the glorious Model O Pro. This mouse has been out for a while. What I still think about it? Let's find out. All right, guys, so here we have the Model O Pro, and let's jump right into it here, starting out with the weight. This mouse is coming in at about 56 grams, and as far as like the weight balance and everything goes, honestly, this mouse feels great. Again, this kind of goes off the Series 1 Pro video that I did yesterday. I actually tried doing a video with both these together, but the video was 45 minutes. I was like, scrap that. Let's just do two separate videos. So here we are with the second installment. So if you haven't checked out the Series 1 Pro video, I'll put a link down in the description for you guys to go check out. But aside from that, with the Series 1 Pro, I did have a little bit of popping on the shell. I don't know if that was like something with the battery mount or something like that. I haven't taken these mice apart yet. But with this one, I get nothing, no creaking, anything like that. And let's go ahead and drop a test really quick on the clicks and check that out. As you can see, there's no rattling, no shaking, nothing in my copy. My copy is performed phenomenally, actually. So that's really good. I love this mouse when I got it. I thought it was great. Again, I've been a long supporter of Glorious since from way back. I bought their, actually, I think I pre-ordered the first model that ever came out, if they had a pre-order, or I bought it immediately. Then I pre-ordered the Model O wireless when that came out. So like I said, I've been around with Glorious for a while now. I do really like this shape. This shape is very similar to a Viper. For those of you that don't know, when the Viper Ultimate first came out, I picked that up and I mained that mouse for a long time, probably for a good year. So really good stuff. But as far as between these two feel, this one just feels a little bit flatter and wider, the Viper V2 Pro. And I was excited to check out the rework on this since they dropped the weight. And yeah, I was really excited about it. So honestly, between this one and the Series 1 Pro, they both feel the same. I mean, with the clicks, they don't move around too much. But what's so weird about this design right here, I don't know, Finalmouse kind of does this with their Starlight 12s. There's like it slants down, and then there's like no like outer casing or anything like that. And I just feel like it just makes the switches kind of bounce around. But anyways, with that being said, the Viper V2 Pro kind of has that same design too, as you can see. But the Viper V2 Pro doesn't really have a lot of post travel. So I think it only really becomes an issue with like this in the Starlight series, where like there's a lot of post travel and it like slides around on the shell there. But as you can see with the V2 Pro, you don't really get, I mean, you can kind of get some play, but it's definitely not as noticeable on this. But yeah, the coatings on both these mice are pretty similar. They both have the plasticky feel. There's just a little bit more texture on the Viper V2 Pro here. Really cool stuff. And as you can see, I got the grips on the Viper V2 Pro. We'll kick it off here. The Viper V2 Pro does have the grips. And with the grips, it is coming in about 60 grams. As far as like weight difference goes, you definitely notice a difference. This mouse, the glorious Model Pro definitely feels quite a bit lighter. Even though it's just a few grams lighter, it does feel a little more nimble and lighter overall. So you usually don't notice that much of a difference in the bigger style mice, but you could definitely feel it here when you're swiping left to right. But overall, it's not like a major game changer or anything like that. Right now, you got the Viper V2 Pro. For a while there, I think it was on sale for like 127, 124, something like that. It's kind of gone back up again. I saw that Best Buy is like 143 or something, and it is 150 back on the Razer store again. And the glorious Model O Pro is coming at $100, so a bit cheaper here. But again, with Razer, Razer is leading the industry right now. They have the best switches, they have the best sensor, the best tech just all around, lowest latency. I would say the Series 1 Pro definitely has an advantage over this one. I feel like there's a lot more mice in this category with this size that are pretty similar to it, that, you know, offer a lot more tech and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and do the shape comparison here. As you can see on the sides there, this one's a little flatter right here. I feel like the Viper kind of tapers off a little less aggressively, where this one drops off pretty quickly. And again, the bottom profiling here on the mice, as you can see, this one, the Glorious, feels definitely a little more narrow. All right, so next up, we will compare it to the Starlight 12 Medium. And again, I don't really like to compare it to this mouse right now because, again, these mice are hard to get. Coming in at 48 grams. You get them off eBay. They go around $200 or so on eBay, so plus or minus. As far as the feeling on these go, the Starlight 12, I love the shape on the Starlight 12s. I really think they nailed it with the shape. This one feels flatter. It feels shorter. I feel like the Glorious feels just a lot longer in hand. So maybe if you're more of a palm grip player, this might be a better option for you. But I do like the Starlight 12. I feel like you can palm the Starlight 12. You can relax claw it. You can even fingertip it. The medium version, you can do it the small one as well. So the bottom profiling on these, overall the Starlight 12 just kind of feels like a shorter and wider mouse, which is typically what I prefer. So. And it's flatter as well. So that's really the differences between the two right there. As you can see, overall, it definitely looks just much smaller in all dimensions. Weight difference on this one. Yeah, the Starlight 12 definitely feels a lot lighter. So coming in at a much lower weight, you definitely do notice a difference there. All right, next up, we got the G-Pro Superlight. And this is definitely where I'm going to start going in more detail because this is where it starts to get a lot more competitive. The G-Pro Superlight, I believe right now you can get it online like Max Gaming for like $89, something like that. Right now, it's a cheaper option than the Glorious Model Pro. And Logitech having superior performance. It has a more efficient sensor. It has lower latency on the wireless. So this is where it gets more challenging because the fact that you can now pick up the G-Pro Superlight in places that are cheaper than this, this is where it starts to make this a hard buy. I feel like overall the balancing feels better on the G-Pro Superlight. Yeah, this mouse is a little bit lighter than the G-Pro Superlight, but you really honestly can barely even tell at all because of how great the balancing is. So 62 grams on my copy of the G-Pro Superlight. There's so many mods for this mouse, and I'll tell you guys right now that I would have an absolute specced out G-Pro mouse. I'd have this thing as light as it can get, all my custom switches on here and everything. I just can never become a fan of this shape. And trust me, I know that is the unpopular opinion. But for me, the G-Pro, I would say where the G-Pro for me misses is I just feel like it's got that top middle hump, which I'm not a huge fan of, and it just doesn't end, man. That thing just barely tapers off. It just keeps going. And yeah, it does feel great in the hands, but my issue with it is that it fills up your hands so much. You can't do the finger pull downs. When you relax claw grip this mouse, it just fills up your hand just way too much, man. And so anyways, I'm going to stop talking about that. It doesn't even really matter. Overall, when it comes to price, performance, quality, it makes it a much tougher buy here. The clicks on the G Pro Superlight, they do feel better. They feel lighter. They feel easier to spam. Not too much of a difference in the scroll wheels here. I do feel like the button scroll wheel to actuate on the Glorious is a little lighter and a little more clicky. I don't know why, but my button on the GPRO Superlight is just terrible. This, you can like barely even hear it. It's like almost like sticky in a way. But overall, side buttons are great on the GPRO Superlight. Pretty similar. These side buttons feel like they have a little bit more pre-travel on them. But yeah, I mean, again, hard buy when this is more expensive than what you can get the GPRO Superlight for. All right, so this is where it gets really interesting because we have the Lamzu Atlantis, which is a phenomenal mouse. This mouse coming at $89, where this one's coming at $100, so this is more expensive. This has a 3370. This has a 3395. So better sensor. The build quality on these, I just feel like the Lamzu Atlantis has the upper hand. And of course, I am going to be a little biased on my opinion here. I try and stay as neutral as I can because really I'm trying to figure out what's going to be best for you guys. But personally, I do prefer the rear hump. I do prefer the wider mouse. So this has the rear hump. It's definitely a bit wider. The clicks just feel a little more solid, more redefined. I feel like they're easier to spam on the Lamzu. I feel like the scroll wheel feels a little tighter. I definitely feel like the side buttons feel way better on the Lamzu Atlantis. So yeah, so this is where it becomes a hard buy. And let's do a shape comparison here. It's got that hump right here, aggressively tapers off, slowly comes up to a rear hump, and this has a very smooth rear hump on it. Definitely, like I said, the Lamzu feels like a wider mouse, whereas this mouse kind of just tapers off kind of quickly there. I mean, this one doesn't taper off as quickly as a Series 1 Pro, but this one, if you can see the profiling on this is like much wider. It comes out much wider up here at the top. So overall, this one can definitely fill up your hands in width more. But with that being said, when you hold this one feels longer in the hand. So it goes further back in your palm. Whereas this one, even though it is wider, which I do prefer, if you look at that, there's a lot of room back there in my palm. So when I'm gripping it like this, it has room to pull it down. Where this one, if you're gripping it like that, I mean, you could pull it down, but you got to kind of slide back. But it just doesn't have much play there because it's just constantly hitting the bottom of your palm, and the Lamzu Atlantis has a little bit more movement. We'll go and drop a weight test here on the Lamzu. So 55 grams, and the weight on these feels pretty similar, pretty identical. So again, when you got a 3395 over the 3370, and it's cheaper, and I feel like the build quality on this mouse is just, it's touched up a bit better, a bit more redefined. Yeah, it makes it a harder buy. The shell on the Glorious is just kind of flexible. It's not like terrible or anything like that. It doesn't feel like some 3D printed mouse or anything like that. It definitely feels like it feels pretty decent quality. But again, overall, like, look, if I just push down the mouse, you can, like, I am pushing pretty aggressively, but I'm just trying to, you can see the buttons flare out, and there's just kind of some play here on the shells. So all right, so that's it with the Lamzu Atlantis. We'll drop that test. Okay, and the final one here is going to be the Ninjutso Sora. And honestly, this is really just as comparable as the Lamzu Atlantis. I would say all the same things about it. The difference with the Sora is the Sora has more of an aggressive rear hump. So I feel like whereas the Lamzu, I feel like it goes wider out further. I feel like this one, like, it kind of comes back to a point here in the end. And it just, you definitely feel the rear hump. It feels a little higher and it feels a little pointier. So, but other than that, As far as the lengths between these mice go, as you can see there, the Sora is definitely smaller. And with the width, these are pretty similar in width. So the Sora is a little slightly more narrow than the Atlantis. But overall, I mean, yeah, overall the width, they do feel kind of similar, but again, it's got that shorter maneuverability on here. So I do prefer the scroll wheel, the clicks, the side buttons, everything on the Sora. They feel phenomenal. The build quality on this mouse is amazing. And as I've said to you guys before, the one thing that this has going for it over the Atlantis is that I feel like the balance is a little better on this than the Atlantis. The Atlantis is a little heavier on the side button side, whereas I feel like this one is a nearly flawless balanced copy. So there's been a lot of people lately kind of dogging on the Sora, and I've heard that they have had some quality issues. Fortunately, I've never had any issues with it, so I can't speak on that. But the quality of this mouse is definitely top tier, and it's phenomenal. And this mouse comes in at $94. So $100 versus $94, has a $33.95 sensor. There's a lot of people giving the switches flack online. I actually really like the switches. It's not even necessarily a complaint. They're just barely slightly heavier than, like, say the Wano blue shell pink dot switches. But honestly, it's not that noticeable. They're very spammable. They're very clicky. And yeah, the mouse just overall feels great. So I really don't understand why the Sora is getting any type of hate online. This is an absolute banger and a top tier list in my personal opinion. Every time I pick it up, I love using this mouse, regardless of what other mouse I was using before it. So another advantage that the Sora has over the Glorious is that not only is this cheaper, not only does it have a $33.95 sensor, but it's also over 10 grams lighter than the Glorious. And do you notice a difference? Absolutely. Huge difference. The balancing again on this mouse is phenomenal. It's really good on the Glorious. The left to right it's a little heavy on the side buttons, but I mean, overall, look at this thing. It's like nearly perfect. Like the balancing left to right on it just feels just so good. $33.95, almost 10 grams lighter. Yeah. I mean, I'll just stop right there. You know. But yeah, for all the people out there hating on the store, stop hating on it. This mouse is an absolute banger. I couldn't, honestly, I can't think of a way they can make this mouse any better. Maybe put different switches in there. Well, I like the switches. I think they're good. I think the implementation of them feels great. So yeah, so that's it. So again, I love the Glorious mouse. I think it's great. It's just a hard recommend just simply for the price point. I don't feel like I'm right to tell people what they should charge for their mice and what they shouldn't. But like I said, as you can see, compared to all the other offerings here on the market, it's kind of facing uphill battle, to be honest with you. Did I enjoy this mouse? I love playing with it. Absolutely. Do I like Glorious? Yes, I like Glorious. I love what they're doing. This is a huge improvement over the Model O, so 2 thumbs up for that. I'm really excited with what they're doing. Again, just at the price point on this, if this was like around a $60, $70 mouse, I definitely feel like it'd be more competitive there in the market with the tech that it has. So I'd like to see where Glorious goes in the future. Hopefully they can keep the weight the same, maybe get it a little lighter, bring up the build quality. I know that's asking for a lot. But, introduce some tech. I'd like to see a $33.95 or better. I like to see maybe an implementation of some optical switches out there. So that wraps up my thoughts on the Glorious Model O Pro. And just so you guys know, I do my best to make these videos for you guys. I try and cater to you the best that I can. If you guys have any questions, if there's anything dying inside of you that you need to know, any unanswered questions, any way I can help you find the gaming mouse that you're looking for, or other gaming peripherals for that matter, please definitely let me know down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.